If Pat McAfee were based in Bristol, you think it would have been harder or maybe impossible to do that Trump interview?
No, I mean, it just there's always more control when you're right there. But again, that said, this is McAfee. This is Pat McAfee who dropped the name Norby Williamson and called him a rat. And then doubled down and did it again on his show on ESPN and was not punished and actually had Burke Magnus, Norber's replacement, come and do a selfie with him on the field and Burke let that happen after Pat on air ripped the number two ranked executive at ESPN and there were no repercussions. I remember texting him at the time because I was gone. I was like, oh my gosh, what has happened? Unfortunately, it's sad. Norby changed and Pat was speaking for a lot of people. But for that to happen and there be no, whether everybody agrees or not, when you rip an executive, name drop and call him names and nothing happens, you know that you have full control. I want you to picture this. I want you to picture McAfee calling Burke or Jimmy and saying, listen, White House just called, or I have a contact there, and they said I could have Trump on Veterans Day. Cool? And they said no. Can you imagine them telling him no? Like that's not happening. It's impossible. And Pat
Squeaky
knows
wheel.
that. And he did right. There's just no way in hell that that happens, that they tell Pat no about anything. Look at how Pat has been so vocal, critical about this fight between ESPN, Disney, and YouTube. He's saying whatever he wants. That man has no rules. And I think it's hysterical because I'm picturing being a fly on the wall watching the executives melt down as this interview happened yesterday, but they could not tell him no.
That's ESPN needs that.
Yes.
And they need someone that's outside their control. And again, it's not that I can endorse everything that Pat McAfee does, but maybe there's some intent here by someone, maybe Jimmy Pitaro, I don't know, by someone that wants Pat McAfee to kick over the tables and overturn the apple cart, and because this is again where I say Pat is lucky. He's based in Indianapolis, doesn't have to be anywhere near Bristol. I'll never forget when I came back to run the undefeated, launch the undefeated. They had me meeting with so many different special interest groups. I mean, here, you got to meet with the black employees. You got to meet with the gay employees. You got to meet with this group and that group. And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm just here to run the undefeated. Why do? Well, you got to make peace with all these people, and I just it undercuts you. You can't get anything accomplished. Pat being independent and coming there, Bill Simmons must be rolling over in his office thinking about, man,
But
they thought I
thinking,
was uncontrollable. Look at Pat.
you're right. Oh my gosh, that was a whole different thing. Wait till the book
Yeah.
comes out on my time on NBA Countdown with him. My Lord. Here's the other part that we need to consider strategically. This allows them to say, see, we're not that bad. Look what we
Yes.
let McAfee do. Let McAfee do. Like, so this helps them, in their minds probably, balance things out a little bit, right? And say, yeah, we might be woke and idiots on pretty much every single topic, but we have McAfee over here talking to Donald Trump. So see, we're not that bad. Like they're using, I mean, they're not going to say no, number one, and it helps them to be able to use this.
They got a little interesting feud where between I believe McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, but more and more I think maybe they're kind of on the same side because Stephen A. Smith has gone after Jasmine Crockett, and says some things that leftists aren't supposed to say.
When he goes
Uh,
on, Sean, I mean, he and Sean Hannity are like best friends. Sean told me that. Like, so when he goes on, I mean, it's not just CNN political. When he goes on Fox News consistently with Hannity and Jesse and whoever else he goes on with, even Laura Ingraham, even Megyn Kelly, like so yeah, this is another step though to have the president on. And I think Stephen A said he would have wanted him on, but it hasn't happened for some reason. So this it just doesn't surprise me at all because of who the characters are.
my thought though is because Stephen A. loves to be a both sides guy.
He does.
He's gonna have to do something to counter. And I don't know if he'll fly out Louis Farrakhan to have him on First Take, or I don't. He's got to do something to appeal. Michelle Obama will be on his show shortly. Something has to happen.
So she can complain about, makeup and hair and what is it? Rare is the woman who can survive off the rack,
Yeah.
which means no, I need custom clothes. So that'll be a fascinating interview. I can't wait to. Sorry.
All right. How much blowback do you think from the internal groups? And again, Pat McAfee may never hear about it, but he is taking some criticism.
Yeah.
The ESPN's probably in total upheaval. Keith Olbermann, I don't know, he's not at ESPN, but he tweeted out, how dare you have on someone like Donald Trump and all of it. Is who obviously ESPN needs Donald Trump more than Trump needs ESPN. Would you not agree?
Yeah, 100%. But here's what I think is happening behind closed doors. They don't like it, but they know that they have no choice, and it's McAfee. And if their complaining gets out, McAfee will crush them publicly too. And then it'll get even bigger. So the people who disagree are probably like, let's just keep it in our tight little circle. Like we used to have to as conservatives. We had to used to like literally whisper in the corner or send text messages to making sure no one else was around. But they're saying just complain quietly within us because if McAfee gets a hold of that and names, you think he's going to hold back after he called out Norby and called him a rat? Like he owns the place right now. And I
Can
love
he
it. Again.
can he survive long term? Will he be
Yeah.
there 2 years from now?
When he first came, a lot of us were talking about that. Is this going to last? Are they going to be able to contain him? Will it? I mean, again, Pat McAfee doesn't need ESPN. ESPN needs Pat McAfee. And he can take his show and all that comes with it, and it's a lot. I mean, he fills programming during the day, every single day. And then it benefits ESPN as he's streaming later as well. And look at him on College Game Day. They need him. They can't say a word. Is he there in 2 years? If he wants to be, they're already, I think, at the time of the deal. I mean, he's making 18 million a year. I don't know how that's dispersed between his team, et cetera. Now Stephen A's a little more than that. Like, who knows what else comes in on the side? He will be there if he wants to be, but he can go and continue to grow this empire away from ESPN if they mess with him.
You know what? That may be the real takeaway from all of this is that Pat McAfee is much more powerful at ESPN than Stephen A. Smith. I, I and I know Stephen A. has the contract, and I know he has some sort of race leverage over these leftists at ESPN. But I don't think I think they would let Stephen A. Smith go well before they would let Pat McAfee go. I think
Whoa.
McAfee has real value.
I'd have to really think about that and break that down. I mean, he's had the Stephen A rules for a very, very long time. And I know, obviously, I know your feelings about Stephen A. No matter what, he's probably the hardest working person that I was around at ESPN for 16 and a half years. And he is still owned by them with First Take, but he's brilliant in many ways and has convinced them. Do you notice if you watch First Take, which I haven't, even when I was there, I wasn't watching it, but you see a clip and at the bottom of the screen, it's promoting Stephen A's YouTube show on the bottom of the First Take screen that it's not ESPN doesn't own that. ESPN isn't getting a penny from Stephen A's YouTube show, I don't believe, right? So he convinced them to promote his show that he's making a whole other income off of on ESPN platform. Like he's got so much power and very many unique ways as well. So I don't know because they're different. They're very different, right? And Stephen A does represent more of the woke culture in many ways because of some of his comments while trying to balance that out. And Pat McAfee, he's not political, but he kind of just speaks the truth. To your point about what does he do to counter this? You're right. He's a competitive guy. He might, come up with another big name guest on his own. But the difference is that his show isn't airing on ESPN airwaves like Pat McAfee's is. So it's very separate. ESPN can separate themselves from Stephen
Oh,
A's
you're talking
show.
about his YouTube show. I
Yeah,
think on First Take, he's got to bring Michelle Obama or someone on.
that's not
He
going to resonate. I mean, is she relevant now? She's trying to be.
Well, I'm trying to think. He's got to bring Gavin Newsom on, or he's got, maybe he's got to host Drag Queen Story Hour on his show. I don't. He's got to do something. I don't even know.
Good point.
Maybe. I mean, this would be. Maybe he'll bring on Nick Fuentes and have a combative interview
Oh,
with Nick
stop
Fuentes.
it. Stop it.
He's
No.
got to do
He's a
something.
he's too smart of a person to do that.
He's got to do something. Anyway, Sage, thank you for taking the time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.